Hello. This is the new caribou, the Honorable Sir David, Emperor of Salt Lake City, Sultan of Utah, Spiritual Advisor to Questioning Mormons, the Bard, Extraordinaire, Supreme Being, Alpha, and Omega. The Omega is out for the day. Alpha is here. He's the light man. I just got back from school, daddy and daughter lunch with Allison. And, you know, Allison, when she's on, she's an angel. When she's not, she's not. But I had a fun time and a good time. And I was having a hard time adjusting the camera here this morning. I've got to be very careful on the camera angle because the camera adds 150 pounds to me. And so did the Hostess Twinkie Company. I ate them out of business. So, here's the subject and topic. I've been giving a lot of thought to this. Now, you've got to realize I'm bipolar. And when I say I've given a lot of thought to this, it's hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of thoughts. Now, that can happen in an hour or two. It doesn't have to be 6 years with a bipolar person. First of all, let me explain to you how a bipolar person, at least me, I can't speak for all bipolar people. Most of them are in jail. And there's only two kinds of bipolar. Those that have been in jail and those that are going to jail. And I haven't been in yet. So I want to let you see the world, if you're interested at all. If you're not, turn the damn thing off and go on, to some porno site. Don't crowd the porno sites. I want to be able to get on. Anyway, I see the world, my eyes and my brain see the world. It's hard to explain because it's a concept that is inside of my head, and it's not a concept anybody can understand, I don't think, unless they're inside my head. I see the world as it is, not as it shows. I see the world as it is. That's why people don't like me. When someone comes up to me in a tie and a suit and a Book of Mormon and a triple combination, and they're smiling and they want to shake hands, and they have a short haircut and they're just clean, 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 nice, 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 I look at them and I can see, I can see the inside of the person. And if they're dog shit, they know I can see it. I've sat in church, and I've heard the term, a whore in church. They're very uncomfortable, a whore in church. Well, I sat in church for 50 years, and I could see the real human being. Not the one that's dressed up, not the one that's smiling, not the one that's patting everyone on the back. I could see dishonest men and dishonest women and people who were not living a life that it appears that they were living on the outside. Now, it can be a curse and a blessing. I can walk into a McDonald's, which I do often, as you can see. In fact, I just came from McDonald's. I bought the baby the Happy Meal, and it made me happy to have the Big Mac meal with it. Anyway, I love to sit in public places and just watch human beings because they're so interesting. I don't see, usually, I do see gender, especially if it's a good-looking woman. I realize she's a little different than a man. But when I sit there and watch, I don't see generally gender, age, etc. I can't tell you how many little kids will go by me in a basket, or their mom's holding their hands, or their dad's holding them, and they go by and we lock eyes. And the child watches me all the way out of the store. Now, some of you that are Mormons are going to say, the child is wise, stay away from that man. I hope it's not that. Kids know that I just think they're precious, and I think that they're so innocent, and I think that they're so such a blank slate that it's too bad that they have to come out into this real world and be torn apart like all of us have been. And I make on people comfortable. When somebody is not who they appear to be, I'm the first one to raise my hand in the room and say, well, you're sleeping with 2 other women. Nobody knows that but me. I don't know. It's a gift. It's a gift. So I want you to know that I see the world as it really is, not as it presents. And most of the time, the reason I don't get along with the people and in this world is that I treat people and I interact with people by the way they really are. Their image and their projection has no influence on me. None. None. And they can't stand that. If they're a president of the United States or they're a homeless man, I treat everybody the same. The other day, I came into the parking lot and, oh man, I've hammered my kids and hammered my girls. Don't go with strangers. Don't talk to strangers. Don't be with strangers, etc., etc. And a man came up to our car and he said, do you live here? And I said, yes, this is Australia. Do you have a kangaroo for sale? And he says, no, I'm looking for a young man that broke into my house. And here is his number of his place. And I had Abby with me, and I looked at her. I said, do you know where that is? And she says, yeah, I do. And I immediately said to her, take him there. He's okay. He's okay. Doesn't matter what he looks like. Doesn't matter if he has a head and 2 arms. Doesn't matter if he has a mustache. I could feel that my child was going to be safe. Now, Mormons talk about, I feel. I don't want to use that phrase, okay? I know. No, that's what the Mormons say too. I know Jesus is the Christ and Joseph was a 14-year-old pedophile. There's just something I see in human beings. The honesty, the integrity, or the deceit, and the dishonesty. So I just sent, and I seldom do that with Abigail or my other girl, Alex. So go show him and then come on back home. She did, and everything was fine. So I'm trying to give you a prelude to the subject that I'm actually going to speak on. I am different, and bipolar people generally are different. I don't know if the others have the same insight that I do, but you can give me 100 people and stand them in front of me, and 3 of them are dishonest bastards. Dress them all in a suit and give them all a triple combination. Most of the time, I'm not 100%, but most of the time I can pick out the 3 that are dishonest. Now, here's what I want to talk about. I again see the world as it really is, not as it's presented. I had a comment by a nice man that was laughing and said he was the head of a legal department in a collection agency, so if I needed any tips, just let him know. I don't. I know all the tips. Now, let me again put disclaimers on this so that the FBI and the CIA and more importantly the Danites don't show up. We should pay our bills. That's the honest and reasonable thing to do. If we go to another man or a store and say we want to buy this or that, he tells us the price, we pay him the money. That's the way life should be. That's the suit and the missionary with the triple combination. Now, it can go both ways. You come home with, say, the lamp. You bought the new lamp. You paid him the cash money. You brought it home. Well, you plug the bastard in. It doesn't work. You know, well, you know, maybe it's the bulb. So you look. It has no bulb. He told you it was complete. It had a bulb. Well, now it didn't. You paid the money. You were honest. He sold you a lamp, so you go downstairs in the drawer, and you get the damn bulb, and you bring an extra one up, and you screw it in, and you turn the lamp on. It still doesn't work. You're looking all over. It doesn't have a cord. You can't plug it in. Now, you start to say, wait a minute. I paid a certain amount of money for a product that was told to me and represented to me that it was complete. Just take it home, plug it in, the lamp will give you light. It doesn't. So, you take the lamp and you decide to take it back to the man in the store you bought it from. And as you pick it up, it falls in 2 pieces. It didn't even stay together long enough to take it back to the store. So you get your Walmart bag, plastic bag, you put the damn thing in there, and you carry it over to the store, and says, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. Now, I've given so many people a piece of my mind, I'm here in insanity. I have no mind. I have a blank mind. But my mind is all over the United States. So you walk back into the store, and you say, hey, bastard. No, you don't start off that way. You walk in and say, I have a problem. And, of course, the guy in the missionary suit and the tie and the Book of Mormon in his hands, he's going, oh, well, let me help you with your problem. Say, oh, good. I took the lamp. I bought it for $20, and I thought you just went home and plugged it in, and there's a light bulb and a plug and everything. You just plug it in. He says, well, what happened? See, he's not going to admit. He knew that. Well, what happened? So I say, well, I went to turn it on, and there was no bulb in it. And he goes, oh, that lamp comes with no bulb. It's not included. It's kind of like batteries in toys. They're not included. Oh, okay, that's just a light bulb. I can accept that. He said, well, is there anything else? And he goes, yeah. And I said, yeah. I said, it has no cord on it to plug it into electricity. And he says, well, you have to buy that cord. It doesn't come with the lamp. I said, well, the lamp was on sale for $20. I thought it had all these things. No. It clearly says in Japanese and Chinese and Portuguese on the back that the cord and the bulb are not included. I said, well, gee, I missed that. He says, yes, you certainly did. I said, well, how much is the cord? It's $29.95. We have it on sale this week. It was $69.95. I said, well, is it just a regular cord? He goes, yeah, but it's for that lamp. I said, well, now the lamp is like, $70, $60. He goes, well, that's why we had it on sale. I said, well, you didn't have all the pieces there. Well, can't help that. And I said, well, I guess I'd like to have just one more problem here I can help get solved. When I picked it up to bring it in, it fell in half. Oh, he says, that's destruction. That's abuse. That lamp is not made to be handled that way, and we can't be responsible for every person that abuses our lamp. Now the bipolar part starts to come out of me. And I said, can you spell abuse? And he says, certainly. I said, look it up in the damn dictionary and you're going to see my face there. What the hell? I want my money back. I go, well, we can't give you your money back on sales items. Now, here's where the bipolar mind says, thank God for medications. Thank God for medications, because this salesman is a dead man walking. So at that point, I have to try to control myself, which almost is impossible, and I go out and sit in my car and play Ricky Martin, Viva La Loco, or whatever that is, real loud, and let the windows move, trying to calm down. Now, there's the hypothetical, and you know as well as I do, we've all had those experiences. Now here's what I'm going to do in this video. Let me put more disclaimers on it. We should pay our bills. We don't want to be dishonest people. Our country's backbone relies upon commerce that is reasonable and fair and equitable. I'm not an attorney. Don't listen to me and don't do anything that I say. I'm saying this in jest and in recreation and as a parody. I don't suggest you do any of these things that I'm about to disclose. These things are more sacred and more secret than the temple ceremony in the Mormon temple. Now, let me start off by saying I had a friend who had a father that had a mother who had a daughter who was married to a Russian who basically served in World War II and married a girl from Czechoslovakia whose parents were born in Argentina, and the other one was born in the Czech Republic. Now, that person said these things to me. So it's not first hand, it's not second hand, it's sixth hand, okay? Now, I'm going to move that sixth hand discussion to first person. That means I'm going to say I and me. Don't believe it. It is not I and me. It is this other person that I last saw in Ecuador who told me these things. But he said, I know you're the bard and you can spread this information freely among the saints and the sinners, not included me. Here it is. Mitt Romney, and I'm going to use his as an example, and it's not to pick on Mitt. Yeah, it is. Mitt Romney, he doesn't have to pay the same taxes that you pay. Mitt Romney hires many accountants and many accounting firms, and he has special rules. They're available to you, but they're so complex that most of us as human beings couldn't understand them. Putting our money in the Cayman Islands and laundering our money in Dubai, and then having a Swiss bank account over in Switzerland, and then having 2 offshore oil rigs out beyond the 12-mile limit. God, it goes on and on and on. Does that start to sound a little bit like the lamp? It does. So, when Mitt Romney stands up and people say, are you honest in your business dealings? And people like him, I'm using him as a rich person, as a person of privilege. Of course, I obey every law. Well, that is certainly the letter of the law. Is it the spirit of the law that a little secretary making $19,000 a year pays higher taxes than Mitt Romney, and he makes $300 or $400 million a year? My bipolar mind starts to go, what the hell? Now, Mitt Romney steals money, and people like him, in the millions. He bought those lamps in China, sent them over here. There's no exchange. They don't work. I don't want to have a heart attack arguing with a 22-year-old returned missionary salesman that can hardly speak English, IQ in single digits. Romney laughs himself all the way to the bank. Now, again, now I'm going to say me, but it's not me. It's not me. It's a story that I heard, and I'm the bard. I tell stories. If I go into the lamp company and I'm browsing after I've been screwed and he didn't buy me dinner, and the phone rings and he goes off and he's gone. I'm looking around the store and I see something of equal value to the lamp. I paid, $25-30 for the lamp. I look around and I go, whoa, there's a pillow or a blanket or something. It's $25 or $30. Now, if I pick that up and walk out of the store with it and the video camera catches me, I'm the bad guy. I've stolen, and it's a criminal act. I could go to jail and I could be levied a fine. Now, the fair thing is that I should be able to pick up a blanket, because he's not going to give me another lamp. He's not going to give me my money back, and I've spent my money, and what do I have? Zero. Now, Mitt Romney and the rich get away with that. They make money off the lamp, and I'm down the road in the poverty row. I'm not saying pick up a blanket. I'm saying it would be fair to pick up a blanket. Now, let me shift a little bit to paying our bills. Now, this is so important, and I'm going to use this tape when they prosecute me. If you intend to rip somebody off or steal something from anybody, and that is your intent, and it can be proven that's your intent, you are committing a criminal act. And you can go to jail, and you should go to jail. If I go back to the lamp store at midnight and I throw a rock through his window, yeah, it's a protest, yeah, it's a peaceful protest, but it destroyed his property, and he'll have to pay what I paid for the lamp. We're even. But my intent was to create destruction. That's a criminal act. That's a criminal act. Don't do that shit! Don't have evil, vengeful intent, or we're all going to jail. Now, here's what I found. Back in the old days, we used to call it a TRW, TransWorld TransUnion Reports. I can't remember, TRW. You guys now call it a FICA score. Now, back in the old days, we could screw with TRWs, and we could make them big, we could make them little, whatever. These days, the damn computers got you young people by the short hairs, okay? You can't really screw with FICA. Now, here's what's not fair. You don't know how FICA works. It's like the Mormon temple ceremony. It goes up, it goes down, and you don't, and I don't know why. We have some general ideas. The length of credit, the amount of credit, how often you've paid, and they don't do debt to income, I don't think, yet. But anyway, the FICA score now, you are a whipping boy for the FICA score, okay? Now, society, they say you can't fight City Hall. Now, this guy told me from Ecuador, you can fight City Hall, but it's very expensive, and you will always lose. But you can fight City Hall, and that's a bipolar idea, you know, whether I lose or not. The guy said sometimes it's just fun to fight City Hall. Anyway, here are some Ecuadorian tips. Not on intent. If you intended to defraud anybody, you belong in jail. And so do I. The law should apply equally. If you're a senator, or if you're you know, a high-powered guy like Mitt Romney, your intent don't mean shit. You can buy your way out of anything. And this, you know, the temple says you can buy anything in this world for money. Do you sell your signs, tokens, and symbols? Mine are up for sale on eBay. I can't get anyone to buy them. They're not worth anything. So, if you get in trouble, now I've never been in trouble. I've always been very wealthy and very lucrative. But the guy in Ecuador told me, if you ever get in trouble, here's a few things that you can do to delay paying your bills and or avoid paying your bills. Now, this is not a tape on how to rip anybody off. It's not a tape on how to be dishonest. It's not a tape on doing illegal things. It's basically a tape trying to balance the City Hall and the establishment against the poor, downtrodden little Mormon with 72 kids and a car that won't start. Now, the first thing that the Ecuadorian man told me was no lawsuit can start without notice in every state. Now, the things that this man told me don't apply equally to all states. Whatever state or country you live in. If you're in Russia, they'll just cut your head off. If you're in Iran, they'll just cut your head off. I wouldn't do anything the Ecuadorian man has brought up as principles of trying to keep the tally and the board even. If you're not served lawsuit papers, there ain't no lawsuit. Now, this is the first line of defense according to my Ecuadorian friend. You have to learn a little bit of new tactics for your life. When anybody yells to you, David, the Bard, don't turn around. Just keep walking, because you ain't David the Bard, and you don't know this guy or this gal, and you don't want to know him, because they have a little piece of paper like this, and they just hand it, and they can throw it on the ground in most states, and they say, the legal papers, you're being sued. Now there's a lawsuit. Now this involves the court. Now it involves the attorneys and the prosecutors and all the other kinds of things. You don't want that piece of paper. Now, collection agencies, and my friend is going to go bullshit on this now because he goes, that son of a bitch, he's telling them our secrets. Credit agencies will try to trick you. They will send you something in the mail that looks like a UPS gift, or it looks like a letter or a check from Social Security or your government in state taxes, and you have to sign for it. Now, the mailman is not an evil man, but he delivers a lot of process of service because people are stupid. Now, you females, I'm going to put you number one on top. Females are so damn curious. I don't care what you do to a female. They're going to open the paper. They're just too curious, and they're sued. The male, on the other hand, I guess that's who I'm talking to, you say to UPS or you say to the post office guy who is trying to make you sign, what is the return address on that? And he'll read, the AAA law firm. And you say, I'm not going to take it. UPS and the post office, they got to take it back. Undeliverable. There's no lawsuit. There's no lawsuit. You never received notice. Now, the credit agencies these days, they're more ruthless. And they're more ruthless. And they're more ruthless than they ever were when I was young. If they get your FICA, if they can get in and get your latest, let's say that you went over to Sears and you applied for a credit or a credit card or something. If you owe money and you're in trouble, don't do that shit. Don't apply for any credit at any time, because as soon as you sign your name on that credit application, your current name, your current address, and basically your age and your sex, where you work, etc., all goes to FICA. All three credit agencies, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. You're screwed. Now the credit company can go in there and go, hey, he's still in town. That Ecuador guy has immigrated to the United States. Now, their computers then go through their crawling system. A crawling system, Mormon Church has this a lot, and so do collection agencies. I'm not surprised that they both have a lot of crawling software. And it'll crawl for your phone number. And basically, you can be on the computer, you can look up anybody you want, and for $10 you can find their latest address, their phone number, and where they work or whatever. So now when you've applied for credit, you're screwed, because now your FICA is updated. If you're in trouble, don't update that FICA. If you move, don't put in, basically, be careful with your change of address. If you owe the money, so says the Ecuadorian guy, put the change of address in your wife's maiden name. Your last name doesn't exist anymore. You have died, and you have dropped off the face of the earth. Now, the other problem is your driver's license. In most states, within 10 or 20 days of moving, you have to report your new address. The Ecuadorian man says sometimes you can forget to do that. Don't! I'm telling you right now, don't! Obey the law. If you move, change your address on your driver's license. But if you're going to vacation in Ecuador, if you forgot it, you forgot it. Now, here's the other scary parts of trying to drop off the face of the earth. If you have children, most of them have names. Mine have numbers, but the credit agencies have found out the names that match the numbers. So says the Ecuadorian man. Now, they go to public school. So you have got to be very careful who is allowed to see your children's records. And you may have to put a letter to the school that no one is allowed to look at those records without a court order. Now, the court is not going to order that. unless there's a lawsuit. If you've never been served, no collector's going to be able to look at your kid's school records. Now, the other scary part, the Ecuadorian said, is if you live in a cold climate or even a hot climate, you have to have electricity, water, gas, and garbage removal. Okay? You put those in the name of Mickey the Mouse. Don't put those in your name. The crawler will go right through the town and they'll see your name on the electric bill. Now, the collection agency knows who you are and where you are. They've tried to send you letters. That's the cheapest way to get service. And you've been too smart. You have not signed for anything. You know, let me tell you a secret in this world, in this life. If you have to sign anything from the mailman, it's not going to be good news. It's not going to be good news. So now they're going to go to, in different states, here in Australia, they go to the kangaroo court. That's the same thing they have in Utah, and they call it a constable. Constable. I haven't heard that word since Bonanza on TV, the constable. But in Utah, they're still constables. Now, they will send to the constable the lawsuit. They'll file the date on the lawsuit, and it has to be served, I think, within 25 or 30 days, depending upon what state and what country you're from. Check that out, says the Ecuadorian man. Now, the constable, he looks like a pretty innocent kind of a guy. He looks like half of a Jehovah's Witness group, carrying the watchtower. He knocks on your door, and you're a stupid shit. You open the door, and he says, "David the Bard?" And I go, "Hell yeah, this is David the Bard." And he said, "Legal papers." He drops them and he leaves. He gets $15 for doing that, and you just got a world of headache. You're in a lawsuit. You're in a lawsuit. Now, let me give you what the Ecuadorian man said. Your children can be your nemesis. Is that it, nemesis? I can't think of the right word. They can get you in a lot of trouble. Now, if your children are under 16, they can't be served in most states, most countries. The constable can say, "Is your father here?" And the child will say yes, and says, "He won't come to the door, though." Well, the constable can't leave the document, and he can't give it to anyone under 16. So have your 4-year-olds answer the door. Now, the other best thing you can do is you put this big hole in the door so you can look and see the papers in his hands. You know it's not good news. Now, many times you can't totally stop a lawsuit. Many times you can't. Many times you can, because there's a date. That has to be served to give you usually 20 days to get your defense together. And if you can avoid that damn process server and not sign anything in the mail past 25, 30 days, they got to go back to court and renew. That costs them money. It costs them time. Now, here's one of the secrets most people don't know. If you owe under $1,000, that's chicken shit. No one is going to continue to try to sue you under $1,000. If you owe $5,000, they may try 2 or 3 times. If it's over that, it's probably worth it to them, because a third of it has to go to the attorney. A lot of it has to go to court fees, and sometimes they're not even going to get a judgment. So the lower the amount is, the more likely that they're going to give up and go away. Now, don't make this mistake, according to the Ecuadorian man. He said the only time he ever got served was on Easter morning. And process servers can be very, very clever. He was in his house on Easter morning with the kids looking for their eggs and having a beautiful Easter morning egg hunt and picking up the bunnies and everything, and the doorbell rings. Well, the Ecuadorian man looks out the window through the door, and there's this beautiful, beautiful blonde, little blue eyes and like a BYU student, cute as hell. And the Ecuadorian man said, "Boy, the Easter bunny left me something." And he was stupid. He opened the door, and she says, "Legal papers." The Ecuadorian man, you know, he tried to transport to Rio de Janeiro, but, you know, now he has a lawsuit in his hands. Okay, so the first big thing that I'm trying to help all people see, to even to even the playing field, not to rip people off. Your intent, if you never intended to get in trouble, if it's just accidental, you've become unemployed, your wife has been killed, your child has a terrible disease, and suddenly you just can't pay the bills, some of these things the Ecuadorian man has told us could be helpful. Most of the time it will postpone. Some of the time it will stop a lawsuit and collectors. Now, let me tell you a couple of other things. That's the beginning of a lawsuit. You got to be notified, and it's got to be in writing, and it's got to be stamped by the court. Now, collection agencies, they're real good at making up legal-looking stuff. And they'll say, if you don't reply in 10 days, we are going to take your testicles. And I go, well, I don't want that to happen. I better apply and reply back. I've learned, don't reply back. Put that sucker in a shredder. It don't mean nothing. Now, here's the other thing the Ecuadorian man said. You want to try to be dead. You have no name. You can give your new name, you're from the temple, to the collectors and the church address. There's no problem with that. But be careful. They'll go and talk to the bishop, and he'll say, oh yeah, the bar's right down the street, and the bishop will rat you out right away. So the guy said, I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that. So you have no name, you have no phone number, you change your phone number, and it's unlisted, unpublished. And here's now the next section to help. Okay. Now, the Ecuadorian man, they had no phones in Ecuador, but he said, in the United States, here's what you do. First of all, you learned never to say yes to anybody or anything. Mr. David the Bard? Why are you asking? Who are you? You answer those questions with a question. They must be able to know you personally to serve you, or identify you, a picture, or you admit it. Most people are stupid. They go, yeah, I'm David the Bard. Am I famous? I said, no, you will be in court. Here's your papers. Oh, shit. So first of all, shut your damn mouth. Second of all, anytime your phone rings, you only say, hello. That's the only thing you say. And then the other person on the other side will say, is David the Bard there? The next question out of your mouth is, who's calling, please, and what is this in reference to? You say, well, this is Jim Smith, and it's personal business. A collector cannot divulge to anybody that you owe anybody money. He must have you say, yes, this is the Bard. Now he can dump shit all over you. Now he puts on his little card, man alive, man at this phone number, man available to be sued. Now, you got to train your kids. You don't let the kids usually answer the phone, because they'll say, well, is your dad there, David the Bard? And the baby will go, yes, he's right here. Now, she's identified. This is the Bard's phone. This is the Bard's phone. So he writes on his little card, child verifies David the Bard does have this phone number and lives at this address. So you got to be careful of that. Now, you answer the phone with questions. Who's calling and what's it in reference to? Say, well, this is Mike Smith, Joseph Smith's brother, and I'm calling for the Bard. Are you the Bard? Say, well, what is this in reference to? Stay with your question. Don't let the collector take charge of the conversation, or you might as well take your wallet out of your pocket, it has no money in it, kiss it goodbye, and throw it out the damn window. So you say, what's this in reference to? Don't ever answer his question. Says, well, it's a personal matter for him. Say, well, this telephone does not take personal matters or personal calls to anybody. You've never identified yourself. They don't know where that number is going, and they will say, well, is this the Bard? Say, I'm sorry, we do not give out any personal information, and under the laws of the United States, I'm going to ask you this time, kindly, this is a do not call number. Do not call this number. Don't wait for them to say anything. Hang the damn phone up. Now, if they're honest, It's a do not call number, and they won't call back. Most are dishonest. And it's like the lamp. They're going to try to call you. And if you keep giving in the same ration of shit, eventually they give up. Now, after the human gives up, they turn it over to a robot. And I don't know if that's the Geico walking thing or not. But the robot, he works 24/7. And he just dials numbers over and over and over. And here's how you can tell a robot. When the phone rings, there's nobody there. The robot has gotten a clue that someone picked up the phone. Now it quickly shoots across the room to the boiler tank, what do they call that, boiler room, and a person picks up and goes, "Oh, is this Mr. Bard?" See? He didn't call, the computer caught Mr. Bard. So the Ecuadorian man says. So here's the first thing that the Ecuadorian man said. When you pick the phone up, if there's no one there, hang up quickly. Just hang up, hang up, hang up. And even the computer gets tired. The computer finally says, screw it. You know, people answer that phone, but they never stay there long enough to get me over to the human to hassle the shit out of them. Now, you know, the Ecuadorian man, his name was Felix. And so, you know, I'm just going to give you his name, and, you know, if anyone gets in trouble, it's going to be Felix, because I want you to pay your bills, and I want you to be dishonest, and I never want you to have an intent to rip anybody off. That's called fraud, and you can go to jail for fraud. All right, so now all this stuff here that I've given you is the telephone, the process server. You don't get served, there's no lawsuit. But you girls are so damn curious, you open the damn door up, and they can serve you. You're a household member over the age of 16, and your husband is going to be in court and missing work. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the mail system, okay? Felix told me that the cheapest way to try to scare the shit out of you as a collector is they send you all kinds of junk mail, all kinds of stuff. Says, this week we have a sale. If you give us $10, we'll excuse the $1 million that you owe us. And that's kind of tempting. And when you call them, their computer locks immediately on your number, the number that they never confirmed was your number, but they know that the mail went to your house, and now you called in on that number. You're screwed again. You're screwed again. Shred that shit. Now, here's what you do before you start shredding it. First of all, don't open the envelope. Don't open the envelope. You write on the outside of the envelope, moved, address unknown. And you scratch out, because the postal computer will send it back to you if you don't scratch out the barcode on your part of it and put it back in the mailbox. Well, it goes back to them and it says, you know, he's moved. Now, they know you probably didn't move. So they'll do that 15, 20, 25 times. You'll get that letter. Now, each time you get it, you write bigger. Moved. Address unknown. Then pretty soon, when it really starts to become a headache, you put on it, deceased. And you send it back, and you keep writing deceased. Now, they know a real human being that is dead certainly is not going to write that on there. It's going to be the family. And the family is not going to keep putting deceased on the same envelope for 9 months. So they know it's a trick. So Felix told me once that he owed J.C. Penney's years ago when he was in Colombia selling drugs. J.C. Penney's called him and said, is this the Bard? And in those days, I was so stupid. Felix was so stupid. He said, well, yes, it is. Oh, no. They called and said, is the Bard there? And I said, Felix said, no. He's died. Are you calling to us have an address to send flowers? And they were so shocked on the other end of the line, they hung up. I never heard from them again. That bill went down the poop chute. Not because I wanted to defraud them, but because I was in trouble. Health-wise and raising kids, I could not pay that bill and feed my children. Okay, so you begin to write deceased on the envelopes coming in. Then pretty soon, after 4 or 5 deceased, don't do anything. Shred it. Just be silent and shred it. Don't sign anything from the postal department. Don't sign anything from UPS. And now you don't have a phone number, you don't have an address, and they've tried to serve you, and they're not even sure you're at that address because you've never verified that you live at that address. Now, if you're unlucky enough to get sued and they serve you, you've got to respond. If you don't respond within 20 days, whatever they said, if you owe them $1 million, they'll get what's called a default judgment for $1 million. Now, this is another part of consumer law that Felix told me you're going to have to check your own states on, and all over the world, Norway, and you people in Israel and Iran, they just cut your arms off. But anyway, if you get served, you better answer the suit. Now, you don't need an attorney, but you better write one sentence and send it to the court. I am not guilty. I do not owe this money. And you send it and file it with the court. If you don't do that, you're screwed. Now, the lawsuit is going both ways. They're suing you, and you're suing them, and now they have to prove that you owe that money. Well, these days with computers, it's pretty easy to get your signature. Back in the old days, they didn't keep records, and they couldn't win on the lawsuit because there's no record that you owed that money. These days, it's a little bit different, according to Felix. Now, here's what you want to do. Felix says, if you're still in trouble and you have to delay this shit, is you can ask for a continuance. Now, continuance on the lawsuit. There will be a date. You got to be in there on November 1st. And then you write to the court, and you also, anything you send to the court, you have to send to the opposing attorney and say, I can't appear November 1st. I have a health problem, and I can't be there for 30 days. Could you move this to December 1st? Most courts automatically will move it. Now the opposition is pissed because now they got to hire the attorney again. They've got to get him ready to go in on this particular case. They pay him another $600 or $700, and you kind of got them walk the walk and talk the talk. They've got an equal opponent. Okay, so now when the date comes up again, you put down that you've had serious health problems, and now you go to your friend, the doctor, and he writes you a note that says, this man is near death. He cannot appear for 90 days. And you attach that to the request for another continuance, and you send it to the opposing attorney, and you send it to the court, and the opposing attorney goes, holy shit, this is costing us a fortune. This guy knows what he's doing. This is terrible. We're supposed to know the secret handshakes. We're supposed to be scaring him. We're trying to collect $2,600, and the son of a bitch has cost us $17. And it doesn't look like he has anything to take. Now, that's called being judgment proof. Now, when you go into the court, if you go in, most of the time they try to stipulate, which means they come to an agreement before you actually go into court. And they say, well, if you'll pay half of this, we'll quit suing you. Well, if you want to pay half of it, do it, but it's going to still hurt your credit. And the judge will just sign that. You don't have to argue it in front of the judge. Now, here's the other part of consumer debt, according to Felix. Sue his ass. There's a difference between getting a judgment and collecting the judgment. Okay? This is more tricky. This is more tricky. And Felix laughs his ass off on this one. Felix got caught once and got served. Damn it. I'm just feeling sorry for Felix, that's all. And Felix had to show up, and the debtor was there. And they have a little meeting. It's called a post-conference, or no, not post, a pre-conference meeting. And you sit down and you try to work the thing out so the judge doesn't have to spend his time doing it. And so they bring in their best people, their collectors. And you come in a little suit and a tie, and you look like an innocent female returned missionary, and you carry your Book of Mormon beside you, and the collector guy will go, do you owe this debt? don't know. Do I? You do! If you don't pay us, the judge is going to give you a judgment. And then we can attach and make you sell your house, your car, your children, and your left testicle. Does that bother you? Well, none of it bothered me until you got to the left testicle thing. Is that the truth? It is! Well, how do I know? How do I know you're not lying? Do we look like we're lying? Well, you kind of look like a bishop to me. Yeah, you do. So, they hand the Bard. Oh, no, they didn't hand the Bard. They handed Felix in Ecuador. And he's on the run. I know that Felix is all over South America right now. A sheet of paper. And on the paper says, do you have any cash in the bank? Well, if you're a dumbass, you do. It says, do you have any jewelry? If you're a dumbass, you do. Do you have any stocks and bonds that are free and clear? If you're a stupid ass, you do. So you go down through that whole list. Do you own a car? Do you own a house? Do you own this? Do you own that? And when you come to the bottom of the list and you don't own anything, your left testicle is safe. It's very safe. And they'll look at you and go, see? Do you want us to garnish your wages? Well, is that like relish on a hot dog? No, it means we're going to steal money out of your account when you get paid. Well, I don't have a job. Yeah! Now he's really upset. Well, you have income. Well, I get a little Social Security. Now he's totally pissed. All Social Security is exempt from consumer lawsuits and debts. They can get a judgment for $1 million. They can't take a cent of your Social Security if you're retired or you're disabled or whatever. Now, the only people that can take Social Security is the IRS and the Social Security Administration. If they paid you too much, they can get their money back. These people can't do shit. Now, he drops to his knees. I said, well, is this the time I unzip my pants? I wish I'd said that, but I didn't, because I'm still being a Mormon. He goes, well, don't you want to be honest in your business dealings? Well, not particular. Now he's laying on the floor, flopping like a fish. Don't you want to give us any money? No, I don't. Get out of here. Yes, I do. I left. Now, the Bard, this is what the Bard would do, but this is what Felix did. I would just be mimicking what Felix did. So that worked. There's certain things that they can't take away from you. They can threaten anything. If you have minor children in the house, the utility company is not allowed to shut off utilities in most states. And if you have minor children, yeah, they can put a lien on your house, but they can't make you sell it. When you sell it, then a piece of that money goes to them 20 years down the road. So, now, here's another shield that the Felix told me about. The rich have all kinds of shields. They're incorporated, LCCs and BLVs and BME. You know, they have all these things that you can't get their cars. You can get the corporate cars, and they make sure the corporate doesn't have any assets. So they have their own shields. They have their own shields. Now, let me tell you how Felix said to put your shields up if you have to. Not that you want to, but if it's desperate, if this is an emergency and you have to, and delay things. These days, women in the law are treated equal to men. They have their own FICA scores. They have their own credit accounts. They have their own checking accounts. They have their own, I think, FICA, employment, whatever. If your mate or spouse or girlfriend, whoever, or boyfriend, does things in their own name, they are not responsible for your bullshit. Now, the collectors will say, well, you're married, she owes the debt too. That's a lie. That's a lie. She doesn't own the debt too. If her name is on the house and your name is not on the house, and they sue you and they get a $30,000 judgment, yeah, they could attach the house if your name's on it. But if it's her name, they can't do shit. They can't do shit. Same way with the cars. You want your cars repoed? Put your name on them. You want a shield there? Put somebody else's name on them. Now, this has to be reasonable and at arm's length is the term under the law. If you're getting sued, and it's a big suit and it's coming down, and you move all your shit just before you go to court, the judge can call that back. He can say that's fraudulent. You moved that because you knew you were going to get a judgment against you. But if it's been there for years, had nothing to do with the lawsuit, that there was other motivations that you wanted to file separately your taxes, or one liked real estate property, the other one didn't. One had a secure income, the other one had a sales commission income, and it was erratic. There's many, many reasons that people will shift the names of their spouses into the best shields. Now, let me give you another shield here. Okay, according to Felix, I memorized a lot of this shit that Felix told me about. If you do home improvements, don't not pay the contractors. A contractor's license allows him to put what's called a workman's lien against your property. Now, let me give you an example. I asked Felix this question, and I said, this is my example, and he says, you're right. You guys know I put an $8,000 bathroom here in the last year. Now, if I didn't pay the plumbers to do that, they could sue me, put a workman's lien on the house, and take it to court, and the judge could order me to pay it, and if I don't pay it, then the judge could, if they go for an execution of the judgment, order me to sell the house and pay them first, and then pay the rest of the money here. Now, if you use an unsecured credit card and pay the $8,000, the plumbers can't put a lien on your house. They're paid. And the credit cards are unsecured. The credit card company can't come and take your toilet back. It's an unsecured loan. So your house and your cars and your important things are paid for with credit cards. They're unsecured credit cards, and nobody can come and take that money or take that property away from you. Now, if you buy a refrigerator from your local guy and he's carrying the contract on it and you don't pay for it, he can come in your house and get the damn refrigerator and take it back. But if you paid for it with a credit card, MasterCard can't come over and get that refrigerator. So there's another rich man's shield for the poor man, according to Felix. So, the other shields that can be put up well is if you're paid cash on your job. There's no paper trail other than security cameras. And I'm not suggesting you cheat, lie, steal, or anything. I'm just saying there's no paper trail to take to a courtroom of how much you made and when you made it. If a man pays you $10,000 cash, you're supposed to report that, and I did. I do. When I had my courier business, I reported cash because I don't want to go to jail. I want to obey the law. I reported cash. But there's no name, there's no social security number, and there's no tax identification number. It's just miscellaneous income. So, if you're paid under the table, if you're paid on the table, if you're a prostitute, that money is your money, and you can get that outside of a judgment. Now, if you've got a judgment against you and you're putting it purposely outside of a judgment, again, that's fraud. The court has ordered you to pay the money to the creditor, and if you've got money coming in, the best thing is just you don't have any money coming in. Now, that's called judgment proof. There are very few people in the 20th century here, the 2012, that are judgment proof. But if you move all of your assets, you don't have any income that is taxable or garnishmentable, and you don't have any real property, a judgment against you just goes on your credit. Stays on there 7 years, I think. And the creditors finally say, screw it, the guy's judgment proof, we're not going to get Felix, so let it go, let it go. And after 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, they'll drop off your FICO score. You're not going to own a house again, probably, and you're not going to be able to do much because of your credit. But I have one child that went bankrupt, and after 5 years, you know, they let you have credit cards again and buy houses and whatever. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a few shields for the rich poor man, because the rich Romney men have these same shields. Let's make life even. Let's make life even. And remember that the credit companies that are calling you, they work on commission. Every time they can pull in a certain amount of money, they get a large percentage of that money. So, try to stay out of debt. Try to pay your bills on time. Try to be honest. Try to be truthful. Try to be anything but a Mormon. And life will click by. But there are divorces. There are children that are injured. There are heart diseases and heart problems and death. And sometimes we need to delay, in a legal way, delay collection problems. So if you enjoyed this video, please write to Felix. He has no address. If you put it on my bar, I certainly will try to forward it to him. I don't see him very often. He's always on the run, and you don't have to wonder why. Don't sell anything to Felix. Thanks.